So I posted the video of our Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380 upgrades and got a lot of comments. Actually, probably the only video that's generated a lot of email comments, which I appreciate. Thank you. I checked my email. So I'm going to run through a few comments and then I'm going to show you how to adjust the laser. That was one of the big comments that I got. And then, of course, I'm going to verify this on the range next time I take this pistol out. But I just got done filming how I was adjusting the laser, and so I'll insert that here in just a second. But while I'm reassembling this, I want to go through some comments. First of all, oops, on my video I had in a couple places transposed the name of the holster, DeSantis, with the name of the trigger kit that's in the gun, which is the Santiago trigger. So in a few moments in the video I referred to it as the DeSantis trigger when in fact it's the Santiago trigger from Galloway Precision. So my bad, oops. One question I got, and I've seen this question posed before and I just wanted to address it, is, you know, I mentioned this was a carry gun of mine. Why did you modify a carry pistol? You know, was I concerned about any legal ramifications or anything like that? Long and short of it, no. In every EDC gun I have, every pistol or rifle I have, it gets some sort of customization, modification, whatever. Whether that be something as, maybe not extreme, but something as simple as triggers, something as simple as sights, something as simple as optics, magazine upgrades, etc. Every one of my pistols or rifles gets some form of modification. So it wasn't even a thought in reality to any type of legal ramifications or anything like that. Frankly speaking, if I need to use it, I'm going to use it. I'm going to be using it for the right reason. So let it be at that. Also, you know, every gun, and I think most of y'all will find this true as well, has some form of customization. Whether it's, you know, you painted your AR, whether it's you put in an aftermarket trigger or spring kit, whether it was changing out springs to reliably run certain ammunitions better, whether it was going with an aftermarket magazine as opposed to a factory one. These are all different types of modifications that could fall into the same blanket of, why did you modify it? It's a carry gun. Shouldn't you want to keep it as stock as possible? Frankly speaking, if it's reliable, if it runs well, and if you depend on it, do it. I don't see any reason why we should be scared of doing simple modifications that are legal just because you're afraid if you ever had to use it, that would be called into question. If you do use it, make sure you're using it for the right reasons. I'm just going to leave it at that. So one of the questions I got was, how did you adjust the new laser? Frankly speaking, I did it on video just a second ago, and I'll be showing that in this clip. What I used was a Sightmark brand. This is a modified cartridge with a laser pointer inside of it. It's a bore sight. So basically what I did is I put a light, a visual reference, down the bore of the barrel, and I adjusted the laser to be just slightly above that. And the reason I wanted it just slightly above that is that way when I put iron sights lined up, the laser is just above that, almost as a co-witness, although it visually and optically it doesn't always work out that way. No, it was not factory sent when they sent it to me. I did have to make adjustments. I did mention that this is the Crimson Trace laser versus the Insight laser. I will point out that the Insight laser that my pistol came with originally back in the day, they provided a small, very tiny, like a 1 millimeter, maybe 1.5 millimeter hex wrench, Allen wrench. That actually does not fit the Crimson Trace design anymore. So the Crimson Trace laser sent me a new Allen wrench that I had to use just now to adjust it. And it's easier to do this, a little bit of pre-setup work at home as opposed to on the range. One of the reasons at the range is you're standing there with your gun extended aiming, and every little hand movement makes that laser travel on the target paper. So if you can get it bore sighted where you know it's at least in line with the axis of the gun and with the bore line of the barrel, it'll be less rounds of ammunition you use to get it sighted in. It'll be less adjustments that you need, if any. And realistically speaking, The laser is an aiming tool. It's not meant for precision aiming. You put the laser on something, you pull the trigger, and it hits the target. Whether that be center of mass or slightly off, you don't really care as much. So I'll show you that demonstration here. How long did it take you to install the trigger kit? Honestly, I did it in a couple different sittings just because I had stuff going on at the house. But total install time was probably 40 minutes. Most of it I did it on my workbench in my office. One section of it I had to take the slide, put it in a vise carefully, and knock the rear sight off in order to get to the blocker spring that's located underneath the rear sight. And that took me, 10-15 minutes in the garage versus sitting here at the bench. So I had to stop and go do something else in order to do that. But if you watch the videos on Galloway Precision, you should be able to do the install start to finish in about 40, maybe 45 minutes if you're taking your time, which you should be. A young lady sent me an email, I believe. How loud is that gun? It's actually not that loud. Now, you're going to want to shoot any weapon with hearing protection unless it's suppressed. But I have shot it without ears on. I frequently keep it in my pocket when we're out hunting. It's a good one if I have to dispatch game or we have a pig that's down. We want to shoot the hog that's down on the ground. It's tolerable, but in a self-defense situation, you will not even think about the audio effects of a gunshot. You're worried about the incident and the drama that's happening right in front of you, not on your ears and whether or not it's going to sting after you shoot. It'd probably be pretty dang loud in the car if you had to shoot one in the car, but certainly this is nowhere on the same level as 10mm or 45 or anything like that. I don't have these numbers offhand, but I can follow up in the comments. But I don't believe 380 auto is supersonic. I actually believe the velocities are pretty slow. I'll verify that and get back at you in the comments. What self-defense ammo do you run? So what's in here right now that I just gassed it back up, and I think I have one on the bench. Yeah, this is Winchester's PDX-1. Focus. There it is. Winchester PDX-1. One thing I like about this, it is a bit hotter, and this thing does not like focusing. It is a bit hotter of a load than the Remington rounds and a few other rounds I've tried. Also, it does have a bit more flash, but I do like them, and I can buy them locally at Walmart or Academy Outdoors. I have carried Hornady Critical Defense, no issues with that as far as reliability. Haven't done any penetration tests or anything like that. I'm also testing out the new Sig Sauer ammunition, 95 grain hollow points that they have, and I seem to like them. They feed really well. I've been using the Sig ammunition in 300 Blackout, in 10mm, in 300 Winchester Magnum. So Sig's new ammo is pretty good. It's about right on par with the average upper end of velocities that I've seen from other ammunition manufacturers, and all in all, I like it. I think I'm going to start stocking up on some of that Sig Sauer ammunition, just because the Winchester PDX-1 can sometimes be hard to find in 380. And then finally, I got a question: how many rounds do you have through this gun? And the simple answer to that is I don't know. I would estimate between 1,000 and 1,500 rounds over the course of about, like I said, 7 or 8 years of ownership. And that's everything from self-defense ammo, Winchester white box, and about 100 to 200 reloads that I did. I've never had an issue with a failure to fire. I have had some where I've had to strike it again, like it indented the primer, but I had to hammer strike again. One of the benefits of having a double action pistol is if the first round doesn't go off, you can click it again, and if it goes off, great, it cycles and keeps going. On one of my hand loads, I had a little bit of a squib. It did end up coming out of the barrel, but luckily it didn't chamber the next round, so we were able to troubleshoot that pretty quick. But all in all, it's been a good gun. Going to take it to the range and work in the new springs that I've added since doing the trigger kit, and then make some final adjustments on the laser, and I'll clean it back up after the range, put it back in my pocket, and keep on going. But I just wanted to take some time to do a quick follow-up video. Appreciate your comments, appreciate your emails. Definitely like to get the feedback. Sometimes I make videos and I feel like no one watches them, which is fine too. But I feel like if people are asking questions, then I'm at least bringing up a topic that they may be interested in. So anyway, Vaughn, SOW Outdoors, out. One of the questions that I'd gotten was, how did I adjust the laser? Did the laser that was replaced come preset? What did I do? Did I just shoot it at the range and hope for the best, move the bullet point of impact towards the laser dot? I just wanted to show you what I'm doing and how I did it. If you're familiar with what a bore sight is, a bore sight is a device that usually shines a laser down the bore of the pistol or rifle, and at which point you would make your scope reticles line up with it. In this case, we're doing it with the laser. So if you look here, now I have two dots. The bottom left dot is the Bodyguard's laser itself. The top middle dot, and I'll make the Bodyguard laser flash for reference, that the one that's flashing is the Bodyguard laser, the one that is steady is the bore sight. So let me turn this off. Let me show you here. So here is the pistol. Let me see if I can get this better situated here. Alright, so take the pull down pin out, pop this off. If you notice, there isn't a spring or magazine or anything here. What I have is this. This is a, come on, focus. This is a Sightmark brand laser bore sight for a 380 ACP. And what we're doing is we're inserting it directly into the barrel. And because of the cartridge length with the laser, you're not able to do this any other way. And then what I'm doing here, so I'm pushing down hard on the extractor so it'll actually seat. Now the case with the laser is in the slide. I'm just going to reassemble the Bodyguard temporarily, and I'm not even going to fully put the takedown pin in. I'm just going to do this so that it's together, the frame is lined up where it's supposed to be. And again, here's what we're looking at. So this is a laser in line with the bore axis of the pistol itself. Now what I'm going to do here, if I can find my little tool, is I'm going to adjust this Bodyguard's laser to be just a hair higher than that, just a smidge above. So if I activate the second laser, I want to go up and I want to go to the right. So let's make our right hand adjustment first. By the way, this probably is easier in the dark, but hold on a second. I gotta straighten out my... The Bodyguard uses the smallest Allen wrench that I've ever seen, and I think it's like a 1 millimeter. Alright, so we're basically going to rotate this adjustment here. Okay, well that would explain it. So this wrench, this itty bitty tiny one, focus, is for the Insight laser, and it's actually a different size for the Crimson Trace. Now they did send me the correct wrench with the Crimson Trace. They even sent me a small laser lens cleaning brush. But let's make these adjustments real quick, and then I'll verify this at a little bit longer distance. What I want is 7 yards. 7 yards, 21 feet. The reason that being is, you know, at 21 feet, say someone had a knife, they could clear that distance towards you within 1 second. And so you wouldn't really have a whole lot of time to put your front and rear sights on a target. That's when you would just activate the laser and shoot if you could, if you had a moment to. But either way, we want it hitting where it's supposed to be hitting. So first of all, looks like turning it clockwise brings us up, and it looks like turning us clockwise here. There's this one. So now if you see that, let me try hitting the lights. Okay, so now, focus. You can see my flashing laser from the Bodyguard. And let me turn the laser off on the Bodyguard. So that's the bore sight. That's the light from the Crimson Trace laser. And I made it flash just for clarity. So again, we're going to try this at a little bit longer distance and just fine tune it. But I wanted to show you that we're going to be adjusting the laser with a laser bore sight just to make sure it's on point.